Hello, all. I'm Sarah, and welcome to TLC's Next Updates. Before we dive into today's tale, be sure to hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you like Sister Wives updates. Today, we're discussing Janelle Brown, Christine's daughter, who is rapidly becoming one of the most outspoken and industrious members of the Brown family. Apart from her pink drink venture, she and her husband, Tony Padron, also operate a Patreon page where they post exclusive behind-the-scenes videos of the family. But in one of her latest vlogs, it wasn't Janelle or Tony who took center stage. It was their daughter, Avalon. And what Avalon had to say left fans totally jaw-dropped. Throughout the years, Janelle has never been shy about speaking her mind, particularly with regard to her dad, Kody Brown. She's publicly called him out for pointing fingers at everyone except himself and for becoming increasingly disconnected with his older kids, particularly after the family relocated to Flagstaff. She's even stated that his lack of presence became more palpable after her brother Garrison died. Most of the Brown children do not share anything about Kody anymore, not on birthdays, holidays, or even major family occasions. But this time, some innocent words from Avalon can have confirmed what many had long thought. Kody and Robyn are hardly in the lives of their grandbabies. On a recent video, Janelle and Tony were answering the first part of the tell-all when Avalon entered the scene. When she started to talk to her family members, she fondly addressed Christine as Om and Janelle as Grandma, but she reacted entirely differently to Robyn. Avalon was confused and apprehensive. She called Robyn my friend and couldn't recall her name. Then she noticed Kody, hesitated, and inquired about his name before finally referring to him as Grandpapa. It was uncomfortable, and followers quickly noticed the fact that Avalon hardly recognized either of them. This scene caused plenty of controversy online. Some followers believed that perhaps Avalon addresses Robyn in such a manner because the family situation is too complicated for her tender age. Others agreed it clearly demonstrates how much time Robyn and Kody have not had with her. One even joked, "At least she didn't call her La Bruja," highlighting the fact that the title friend is still more positive than some used to refer to their step-parents. But beneath the joke, the message was stern. Avalon appears to be closer to Christine and Janelle, while Kody and Robyn are strangers. Fuel to the fire, too, was Kody recently filming a cameo when he gave parenting tips. He advised someone to guard their kids from older kids from another spouse. Fans quickly caught on that this is Kody talking about his own case and advising Robyn's kids to be protected from the other Brown children. For most viewers, this validated what they've known all along. Kody has built a rift within his family and is opting to defend some children while keeping others at arm's length. And now, finally, Janelle Brown is speaking out. In the latest tell-all, she came forward along with Christine and Mary to address Kody and Robyn's favoritism. Kody bemoaned the fact that others mock him for caring more about Robyn, but maintained he had done nothing wrong. Janelle made it perfectly clear she's reached her limit, and her words illustrated just how deep the wounds within this family actually are. So, has Avalon unintentionally revealed the reality of Kody and Robyn's relationship to the rest of the family? Are these scenes the last evidence that the family bonds are more shattered than they admit? Let us know. Let's dive into the explosive new chapter in the Sister Wives Tell-All special. While viewers have witnessed Christine and Mary getting vulnerable with their heartbreak and regret, it's Janelle Brown who's now talking more directly and more aggressively than ever. Her recent statements regarding Kody and Robyn are not simply eye-opening. They're incriminating. At the beginning of the tell-all, Kody attempted to tell us what had gone wrong in his marriage to Janelle. He asserted that he did not really know how things deteriorated between them, only that their problems frustrated him more and eventually prompted him to distance himself emotionally. Kody even blamed Janelle for being a victim, but Janelle did not let that pass. She held firm, saying vocally that she has never played the victim role. What she does want, she said, is easy, her boundaries and feelings to be respected. And then came the remark that cut to the quick. Janelle told us that if she had only known Kody for a single year prior to getting married, she wouldn't have done it. That is, she wishes she had really known him before embarking on a polygamous union with him. But that wasn't all. In the preview clip for part 2 of the tell-all, Janelle opens even more. She speaks about how, while she and Kody might have had a good friendship at one time, Her relationship with Robyn was never better. She confessed that she doesn't hate either of them, but she also doesn't like them, and she has no interest in being friends with either. Janelle and Kody formally dissolved their 30-year marriage in December 2022. By then, their relationship was strained, particularly when the family relocated to Flagstaff. Kody distanced himself from Janelle and even from their children. Since their breakup, Janelle has held her ground, even filing for her portion of the Coyote Pass property. Her quiet strength and resilience have been a high point of the most recent season. So what's next? TLC has dropped a preview synopsis for Part 2 of the tell-all. In it, Janelle will take it even further when talking about why she has zero interest in speaking to Kody or Robyn. Christine will also chime in, specifically on Kody's strange remark that she is his favorite ex-wife. But what really has everyone talking is Kody's new plan to go on a boys' trip with none other than Christine's current husband, David Woolley. Yes, you heard correctly. During all this turmoil, something beautiful and surprising recently occurred. Something that reminded viewers just how far the Brown family has come. A sweet baby voice, pure and unplanned, quietly acknowledged the emotional distance that decades of reality television and family drama never quite achieved. That happened during a home video posted by Janelle Brown, Christine's daughter, an up-and-coming star in her own right. Currently a mom, wellness entrepreneur, and vocal content creator, Janelle has carved out her own destiny beyond the family's previous history. With husband Tony, she leads honest Patreon discussions in which they strip away the veneer of their reality TV heyday. But during one recent session, their toddler daughter Avalon accidentally stole the show, and in doing so, revealed things to fans that no adult could ever hope to. At that moment, Avalon's sweet but tentative allusions to her grandparents, particularly Kody and Robyn, told the whole story. A child's naive words echoed the deeper realities of a family strained to the breaking point by distance, loss, and emotional disconnection. While the adults dance around conflict, Avalon blithely revealed what has been percolating for years. What transpired in that corner of a video wasn't a game of make-believe, it was a reflection of a broken family dynamic. And whereas Janelle continues living her truth openly and unapologetically, her daughter's candor might have provided the most selected snapshot yet of the true condition of the Brown family. In a single dramatic moment from the tell-all, something shocking occurred that would say more about Matt and Laurel than any sensational interview or tearful confession. Janelle Brown and Tony Padron were shooting a laid-back behind-the-scenes video when their young daughter Avalon wandered innocently into the shot. What ensued appeared harmless, perhaps even adorable. But to fans of the Brown family dating back years, it struck like a lightning bolt. Avalon started indicating the individuals around her, pointing them out with the pure candor that comes from being a child. She greeted her maternal grandmother, Christine, with a gentle, loving nickname, a name full of warmth and family heritage. Then she caught sight of Janelle, Christine's ex-sister wife, and called her equally endearingly, Grandma. Despite the fact that Janelle is no longer legally tied to Kody Brown, Avalon's words indicated that emotional ties had never broken down despite legal and relational disentanglement. And then was the moment that left everyone watching in stunned silence. As Avalon turned to Robyn, the sole surviving wife of what had once been a polygamous household, her face changed. There was a hesitation, a flash of confusion, and then a remark. "She's my friend," Avalon replied, but couldn't remember her name. There was no automatic title, no embracing hug, only space. She then gazed at Kody, her grandfather. She hesitated once more. Grappling for recognition, she finally referred to him as Grandpapa, a title that felt almost rehearsed rather than personal. A phrase she'd heard in passing, but not one that was connected to memories or experiences shared. It was a moment that intruded upon the carefully constructed narrative the Browns have attempted to uphold throughout the years. Because children don't simulate emotions, they don't hide pain. And in a few harmless words, Avalon spoke a truth that decades of adulting and politics had attempted to silence. The cracks in this family are not just adult cracks anymore. They're being sensed by the tenderest hearts, even when they cannot fully grasp the whys. Fans quickly swarmed online discussion boards with responses. Some were tickled, some were devastated. Many saw Avalon's reluctance as a sign of greater emotional and physical distance, an echo of the strained relationships between her parents and the rest of the Brown family. Some wondered if Mykelti and Tony had deliberately restricted contact with some of the family members, not out of hostility, but as a natural result of trust being broken and one-sided effort. Before Avalon was able to speak, the mother was already questioning the man she once referred to as Dad's decisions and actions. Mykelti openly discussed Kody's blaming nature, responsibility avoidance, and gradual emotional distancing from those who needed to be emotionally invested in. The decision to move to Flagstaff, a new terrain both literally and metaphorically, created a boundary that set him apart from not only geography, but also from his older children and their history. Her voice became louder after a devastating loss, the death of her brother Garrison, who had long wrestled with the feeling of never being loved or supported. Kody's absence during this painful time only widened the chasm. He became a ghost in his children's lives, showing up only in paid cameos and public statements that sounded hollow to those who had once referred to him as father. So when Avalon gazed at him and couldn't remember his name, it wasn't merely uncomfortable, it was symbolic. This wasn't a memory issue. It was an issue of presence, or the aching lack thereof. Kody, who had once been the dashing patriarch of a sprawling polygamous dynasty, now stands disremembered by the very generation he expected to inherit his legacy, because emotional ties don't happen by accident. They're constructed. They're fostered. And though Avalon had little attachment to Robyn and Kody, her warm affection toward Christine and Janelle spoke volumes about how very differently she felt. Her recollections are defined by hugs, visits, and bedtime stories, the actual family building blocks. And in those quieter, unguarded places, the truth is made perfectly plain. Where love is sown, it takes root. Where it's denied, it withers. Names are important. Names ground relationships and form the contours of love. And on social media, that fleeting instant in the video, Avalon's adorable but revealing bewilderment, prompted a torrent of responses. As clips made their way through online communities, feedback flooded in. Some people laughed at the child's bewildered expressions, but others were touched by the undertone of meaning in her words. One viewer remembered a moment from an earlier episode in which the same toddler happily hugged one woman but shied away from a man she appeared to hardly know. Another remembered a poignant moment of emotional distance, when a little child was misplaced in a group and comforted not by her parents, but by a grandmother figure no longer connected to the family legally. Most wondered if the woman Avalon credited as a mere friend had set up her own emotional boundaries, recognizing that the parents of the child might have deliberately receded from specific family ties. Others pondered the inherent characteristics of relationships, how close proximity does not necessarily equal intimacy, and how investment of emotion cannot be feigned. These thoughts took on a pointed tone in the wake of a new video from Avalon's grandfather, Kody Brown. Appearing in a paid cameo spot, Kody told a viewer to keep their children away from the influence of older children from past relationships. The message seemed jarringly particular, nearly a coded allusion to his own complicated family entanglement. For Mykelti, Avalon's mother, and others who have observed Kody's growing remoteness, it was further proof of an enduring pattern. Separation masquerading as protection. Emotional distance presented as wisdom. And that's what made Avalon's innocent comments so strong. They were not from spite or scripting. They were from truth, raw, unfiltered, full of insight. Her little voice exposed what carefully crafted TV moments and stage-managed interviews couldn't. The price of selective love, the pain of emotional lack, and the fissures left when connection is not fostered. But let's be honest, this isn't a tale about bad guys. It's not even about guilt. It's about how families change. Some move closer together, some farther apart. And sometimes, the most uncomfortable truths are uttered not in lies, but in whispers of confusion from a child who is still learning the names of the people who ought to be familiar. Against the backdrop of all that, the camera shifted to one woman, once swept up in the beauty and struggle of plural marriage. At the first of the tell-all interviews of Sister Wives Season 19, Janelle Brown stood not in anger, but in courage. What she said wasn't a denunciation. It was an unburdening, a release tempered by years of silent perseverance. She thought about her history with Kody, their 30 years together, and the disintegration that ensued. Kody insisted he had no idea why their relationship had collapsed. He spoke not with self-reflection, but with anger, as if the disintegration of their connection was something that happened to him rather than something he had a role in constructing. But Janelle wasn't having it. She held firm. She pushed back on the suggestion that she was being the victim. She reiterated that her boundaries weren't punishments. They were overdue acts of protection. And with searing honesty, she confessed that if she had actually known Kody at the start, she may never have wedded him at all. That wasn't bitterness. It was clarity, gained through years of compromise and disillusionment. She then began to discuss her difficult relationship with Robyn, stating unequivocally that she felt no malice, but no desire to make friends either. And all the while, she was calm, grounded in a sense of peace that only the laying down of pretension can bring. So as this family saga continues to unfold on the glare of reality television, a new chapter is being written, not so much through the words of ex-wives and estranged partners, but through whispers of the next generation. These kids, such as Avalon, are observing. They are taking it in. They are remembering. And occasionally, through a single off-cue word, they let us see the truth most adults are still trying to keep hidden. Because ultimately, love isn't about ceremony or status. It's about presence. It's about who shows up. And for this broken, rebuilding, still learning family, it's the smallest voices that are at last ringing out the loudest. Instead of bitterness, her words rang with freedom. In that moment, she reclaimed decades stolen by compromise. In a subsequent look provided by the network, audiences could see a woman talking, not just as an ex-wife or mother, but as one who had finished a long emotional journey. Her response was breathtaking in its simplicity. She might be nice with her ex-husband, but any bridge to greater understanding had long since fallen. About his current companion, she was more direct. There had never been a friendship, and there never would be. Not out of anger, not out of vengeance, but because the foundation had never existed to begin with. There is quiet strength in choosing apathy over animosity. Years passed, and people wondered if she was jealous, competitive, or resentful. But her peaceful reality pierced through all of it. She did not wish them ill. She just wanted them gone. Her life went on, without hubbub, but with intention. She no longer attempted to repair what never did or could. Her leave from the mutual spiritual covenant came not in protest but in clarity. When the family relocated to the pine-shaded hills of Flagstaff, something within her changed. The emotional distance became too vast to ignore. She stood by while attentiveness waxed and waned, while support turned to absence. To her children, she was steady. But the man who vowed to always be there vanished in silence. And that silence, following tragedy, spoke volumes. A devastating loss only widened the rift. When her family most needed to be together, it was distance that came instead. She would come to refer to it as the moment of ultimate splintering. Next were the court fights. Land, originally intended to represent unity, became her assertion of autonomy. She wanted her portion of Coyote Pass, not to be vindictive, but to establish her self-worth. Every square acre was imbued with memories, and she would not give up one. As the interview ended, the camera turned back to her. And when asked if there would be friendships in the future, she hesitated not. Could it be possible that there would be peace? Perhaps. But friendship? Cuddling? Togetherness? She wasn't planting olive branches for individuals who no longer glance in her direction. She was creating a future, one that did not glance in reverse. And that was just the start. In the second half of the tell-all, yet another ex-wife would look back on what it actually meant to be the favorite ex. And it would turn out in a surprise twist no one could have predicted. That the man himself would expose that he had actually fantasized about connecting with her new boyfriend. A man who now served as a silent reminder of all that he could never have. This is no longer the story of a plural family trying to survive under one roof. This is the story of separate lives being rebuilt. With strength, with intention, and with grace. Some endings come with flames. Others with dignity. Hers came with truth. The quiet, scorching kind that lingers long after the screen fades to black. Behind the calm voice and level stare is the tale of a woman who was never supposed to lead, but did. Who was supposed to acquiesce, but spoke up instead. And in that moment of revelation, she transcended merely being a name on a cast list. She became her own North Star. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and enable notifications for more daily stuff. See you soon.